right, let's dive into something that's a huge headache for pretty much any sales team. How do you stop sales from being this unpredictable, almost magical art and turn it into a science you can actually count on? Well, the answer isn't some brand new tech gimmick. It's actually the timeless wisdom of Peter Drucker, the father of modern management. We're about to unpack his 7 core principles that can totally transform how you think about growth.
So, let me ask you a question, and be honest. Is your company's sales success really just built on the backs of a couple of star performers? You know exactly who I'm talking about, right? The ones who just seem to have that magic touch, closing deals left and right while everyone else is just trying to keep their head above water. Look, if you found yourself nodding along to that, then that right there, that might be your single biggest problem. Relying on a few rock stars is a super fragile strategy. It's unpredictable, you can't scale it, and what happens when that star performer decides to leave? Yeah, the whole house of cards can come crashing down. But don't worry, there is a much, much better way to build. And this is the core idea, the big mindset shift we're talking about. We're moving away from that old way. Sales as this chaotic, unpredictable art that relies on charisma and gut feelings, and we're moving toward the Drucker way. Sales as a science. It's a customer-focused system built on process and data that literally anyone on your team can learn and execute successfully.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to start with the absolute foundation of this whole framework, principles 1 and 2. These are all about 2 things, clarity and value. It's about being crystal clear on what you're actually offering and, more importantly, why anyone should even care.
All right, principle number 1, simplicity scales. Now, this one feels a little backward at first, doesn't it? We're so tempted to think that piling on more features means more value. But Drucker says, nope, it's the opposite. Complexity is the enemy of execution. It just creates confusion and friction for the buyer, and it makes it impossible for your team to deliver a consistent message. And here is the perfect, simple test for your own product or service. Ask yourself this. Can a buyer explain your value proposition to their boss in one single sentence? If they can't, your offer is too complex to scale. You've already lost before you've even really started. Okay, principle 2 is a big one. Value comes before revenue. You have to get this tattooed on your brain. Revenue isn't the goal. It's the result of delivering real value. If you find yourself talking about price before the customer totally gets the outcome you're promising, you are actively shooting yourself in the foot. You're just creating noise, arguing about the price tag before they're even sold on the solution. And this is so important. Think about it. When a customer pushes back on the price, it's almost never really about the money. It's a giant flashing red light that says you failed to build a strong enough case for the value. So your job is to stop defending the price tag and start building a rock-solid case for the outcome. Okay, so we've got our foundation of clarity and value. Now let's build on that. The next set of principles, 3, 4, and 5, are all about focus and facts. This is where we learn to aim our efforts at what actually works, and we do it using real data, not just guesswork.
Principle number 3 is a serious reality check. It's that results live outside the company. All that internal stuff you track, the hours you work, the number of emails you send, all those meetings, none of it matters to the market. The only thing that actually generates revenue is the positive result your customer experiences. That's it, period.
So this naturally forces you to completely rethink how you measure success. You've got to stop high-fiving over, we made 100 calls today, and start celebrating, we got 10 customers to their first big aha moment. See the difference? It's a huge shift from celebrating how busy you are to celebrating the impact you're actually making.
And that leads us perfectly into principle 4, effectiveness beats efficiency. This is a classic Drucker idea. Look, efficiency is about doing things right. Sending 100 emails in an hour. But effectiveness, that's about doing the right things, like sending 10 perfectly crafted emails to the exact right people. Being super efficient at the wrong stuff is just a faster way to fail.
So what does this look like in the real world? It's simple. Focus your energy. Stop the busy work of chasing a huge volume of low-quality leads. Instead, pour all that effort into the high-intent, high-fit deals. Those are the ones that build a healthy, sustainable business. And how do we know if we're actually being effective? Well, that brings us to principle 5. What gets measured gets managed. We've all heard that saying, right? You can't improve what you don't track. But Drucker adds this super important twist. You have to define your measurements in the buyer's terms, not your own. This chart shows that shift perfectly. On the one hand, you've got these internal kind of vanity metrics, like number of emails sent. We're moving away from that, and we're moving towards customer-centric KPIs, things that matter to them, like time to value. How fast did they get the result they paid for? Now that is a metric that actually predicts whether they'll stick around and keep paying you.
All right, time to bring it all home. The final two principles, 6 and 7, are what really tie this all together. They take it from just a list of tactics and turn it into a complete philosophy. This is all about purpose and process.
Okay, Principle 6 is really the philosophical heart of this entire framework. The purpose of business is the customer. A business doesn't exist just to push a product. It exists to create and satisfy a customer. The product, that's just the tool you use to solve their problem. And when you truly get that, selling stops feeling like you're pushing something on someone, and it just becomes the natural result of genuinely helping them.
I love this quote because it completely reframes what a salesperson should be. Your strategy shouldn't be an exercise in persuasion. It should be an exercise in anthropology. Your job is to be a student of your buyer's world, to deeply understand their challenges, their goals, their headaches. Once you've done that, you don't really need to persuade them. You just present the obvious, logical solution to their problem.
And here we are, full circle, back to that problem we started with. The ultimate answer to relying on a few star performers is Principle 7. Sales is a system, not a personality trait. Real sustainable growth doesn't come from a charming personality. It comes from a repeatable, documented process that makes everyone on the team better.
And this is what that system looks like in the real world, a sales playbook. It's not complicated. It's just a clear map that lays out every single step, from how you find the right leads to how you track results. A great playbook doesn't get rid of talent, it multiplies it. It takes your average performers and makes them good, and it takes your good performers and makes them absolutely unstoppable. So after all that, what's the one big idea you should walk away with? It's this: stop hunting for sales heroes. Start building a sales system.
So let's just do a super quick final recap of these big mental shifts. We're going from complex to clear, from defending our price to building the case for the outcome, from tracking our own busy work to focusing on the customer's results. And maybe most importantly, we're shifting from depending on a few personalities to building a process that everyone can trust. Each of these principles build on the last, creating one powerful engine for growth.
And look, if you only remember one single thing from our time together today, let it be this: sustainable success comes from a great process, not just from great personalities. In the long run, a team with a great system will always beat a team of chaotic individuals. You build the system, and the success becomes inevitable. So, to help you put this into action right now, I'm going to leave you with one final question to think about. Based on everything we just went over, what is the one thing, just one, that you can measure differently tomorrow that puts the focus back on your customer? That's your first step to building a true science